In 1987, I had this professor in their elementary education classes, and she said, every kid deserves a reading journey. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So I came back home, I got a job, and now I was with, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So a friend of mine said, read The Book Thief. And I started reading it and went, oh, Marcus Zusak wrote an entire book just to say books save lives. And I cried for half an hour. I mean a legitimate bawling, like grieving the teacher that I was and how ineffective I was and how I didn't do what I should have done. Actually saying any words, right?
I met Daphne through my new teacher mentor. It was my first year teaching, and I had 8th and 7th graders and was like, hey, I want to take you to this classroom. And we walked in and I was like floored because her kids were just like my kids, but they were all reading.
She was coming into classrooms and saying, is there anything I can do to help you? And I said, what I really need is for my kids to not hate reading. They have no motivation whatsoever.
She reached kids the way I sought to reach kids as a relatively new teacher. And I like to try things, so I tried it. And it worked.
The way that I ended up teaching was introspectively. So my kids thought about themselves. They bounced the thought off of their ideas. So it taught them how to think. I found that most kids kind of stopped in 2nd grade because a very common practice is the teacher showing you pictures and words and you're like, yes, I can do it. Then in 2nd grade, the teacher takes away the pictures and then tells you just picture it in your mind. Now the pictures are gone and the child doesn't have any crutch left to use to develop the words in their head. So they get stuck. What's happening today is that we're going to have 2 kids who have not been successful reading. So we're trying to spark a little bit of light and finding a book that's in their vocabulary range and then igniting the connections. Well, tell us about how you got to this point.
I feel like I did not feel like reading anymore. It just came to something that doesn't really excite me anymore.
I'd get into a book and I'd read it for like a couple of days and then I would just like lose interest into it really quick.
What I've found through research is that there's 3 things that every kid needs to become a reader. Number 1, making connections. If they can see that same character going through similar circumstances.
I don't look at it the way like, oh, this is making a connection with me. I normally just look at the movie or like read the book or whatever it is as just something like entertaining, like will it entertain me?
These aren't separate from you. It's almost like when you pick one, the missing piece is you. So that when you read a sentence, you go, oh, well, that reminds me of, oh, that reminds me of. The most important part is making the connection. So if you're teaching social studies, how do you guys look at the Civil War in relation to what's going on here now? They're like understanding and navigating a little bit better. Things make more sense to them. When you start making the connections with the characters and what's going on and what they're thinking and how they're feeling, then you feel and think with them because your brain and what you think and the images inside of here are better than anything someone could draw. You're pitching a kid something that they hated and you're trying to convince them you don't have to hate it still. So really what you're doing is committing to me, if you want, for 1 book. And then you come back on Monday and then we talk again and see if it worked.
The second thing that they need is the time to read.
Our test scores show giving our kids the time and the space to read has really paid off.
He actually finished the book as soon as he left us last week.
The bell rang as soon as I went back, so I was in 3rd period. And I finished that book in that period and I came back to see if you guys were still here, and
Really?
Michelle Bitch told me that you guys just left.
Okay, so what happened with that book at that time?
I was able to make like more connections than I would, not a lot, but like maybe 2 or 3 more.
And you saw the light starting to go on inside of him. And now that he has made them, He recognizes the work it takes to make them, but also the benefit of making them.
It was just made me very happy that I was able to finally make one. I'm feeling a little bit more confident that I can do it. And I feel that like as more connections I make, I can feel more confident.
During like my classes, I started reading the book
Yeah.
a little more, and I started liking the book a lot.
Give us an example of a connection that really helped you.
Like he was with his grandma, and that connected to me because when I was younger, my grandma took care of me a lot.
Oh.
I was with my grandma a lot, and I kind of made a little connection with that.
We're talking about a kid who's 14 years old who has never successfully read. How does it feel when you make a connection?
I don't know, it kind of feels good because I never like really been able to done that before.
Yeah.
And like now it kind of feels good.
If he could just keep making those connections, he's gonna feel great.
It's self-efficacy, your belief in yourself that you can do something.
They feel empowered to read the word problems or read aloud in class or be a leader in class because they're able to do that through books.
If a book can get a kid to caring about themselves, to looking at themselves, taking responsibility for themselves, it can happen in any school, in any home, anywhere at all. You just have to believe in books and in kids.
Hi, I'm Tom McNamara, host of Arizona Illustrated. Thank you for watching this Arizona Illustrated story here on YouTube. And if you like that one, well, here's another story we think you'll like.